do you want better? Or are you comfortable with just having what you got? And for me, I
Yeah,
like nice
right, right.
things. So
Yeah,
so I want to do what it takes to get nice things
yep,
and keep nice things.
right. All right, welcome back to Legacy United, a Righteous Project Inc. podcast, season two. Season two, we're inviting guests on here to share their story, and I got a really special guest today. I'm excited to have him on here, but I'm going to let him introduce himself, man. So go right on ahead, sir.
All right. So, hey, what's up, everybody? My name is BJ Joyce. I'm a Denver native, born and raised, St. Joe's Hospital. Woo,
That's what's up.
woo.
That's
Let's
what's up.
go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, yeah, went to East High School. You know, there's a lot of other famous people there, like Hattie McDaniel, Jack Swigert from the Apollo 13, Robert Smith, billionaire.
Yep.
You know, JB Bickerstaff, head coach of the Cleveland
There you go.
Cavaliers. A couple members of Earth, Wind, and Fire, including Philip Bailey, Larry Dunn. You also got Pam Grier,
Yep.
Don Cheadle.
Yep.
So a lot of good company with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then love playing basketball. Grew up playing basketball. You know, over there on the East Side. So
Okay.
going to East, you got to be a ball player. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so lots of good ball players there coming out of there. Each and every year. Shout out Rudy Carey. You got Rudy Carey Way going right through the school now,
There you go.
which was just the Esplanade back in the day.
Yes, sir. Right.
Yes, sir. But yeah, out here doing my thing, trying to really make sure that the city of Denver and the state of Colorado, as much as I possibly can,
Right.
is tuned into Black economic mobility and uplift for Black people. I really have a passion for seeing us be respected and competitive here globally. So I want to make sure that we've been getting a raw deal, for many years,
Right.
and it's time to get a piece of our pie. So I'm trying to help us to do that in whichever way I can through whichever means I can.
Yep.
So,
And yeah, I see. Yeah, man, I see you a lot, man, on social media. You're definitely out there, man, and you represent a lot of local businesses, a lot of local Black businesses as well. That we definitely need in the city. And kind of speak about growing up. Growing up in Park Hill, I grew up about a block away from the Holly, and growing up
yeah,
there, man, there was only two stores open. There was the Horizon, which was the bar. Then there was, we call it Ned's at the time. Some people call it Juniors, but that was it. Everything else around there
right.
was empty spots, man. But now you go out there and you see, it's getting a little bit more vibrant. So it's really good to have people like you kind of go out there and make sure that people are aware of these locations as well. But not only that, man, you do a lot, man, for the local businesses. You have a lot of programs coming up as well. But on the show, what we like to hear, we want to hear you take it from the top, man. You said you grew up in Denver, Mile High City. That's what's up. Same here. And you said you did you grow up on the east side, 5 Points area? Okay.
Yeah, 5 Points area. Yes, sir. So, Curtis Park.
Yep.
Project area. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Shoot, it's going to the creamery.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's my spot.
So I'm gonna tell you something, man. I never been to the creamery, bro.
What?
Never been.
Bro, let's go, man.
Yeah, man, we're gonna have to. My wife, she grew up on the east side, and she has, man, but I never have, man.
Oh man. So my go-to is a number 5.
Okay.
Smothered with extra meat and cheese.
Damn.
And then a chili relleno on the side, smothered with meat and cheese on it.
Yeah, that's what's up. Okay.
Yeah, that's my go-to right there.
Yeah, I'll let you know, man. I will. And because I said that, because I let out the bag, now I gotta go, man. So.
Oh yeah, you gotta go, man. You can't be like growing up in Denver and not go to the creamery, even if you are from Park Hill.
Right. Hey, man, to get to downtown, you gotta drive in that area anyway. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Now let me ask you: when Downey Supers was around, did you go to Downey Super?
I went to Madeir's, man. You remember Madeir's?
I don't remember.
It was right on. Yeah, man. I went to Downey Super all the time, but on the corner, there was a little small. I wouldn't even call it a fast food restaurant, but I guess it's called Madeira's, man. There are two people that work there, and they made, I posted this on Facebook not too long ago, but they made what we call snack lunches, like a hamburger and fries when I was a kid. But that
Yeah.
was my go-to spot. But yeah, down in
Okay.
Superman, we went there. The
Yeah.
laundromat right across, man. They had Street Fighter, man. We used to
Yeah.
go there all the time. The library was over there too, man. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hitting up the 707, get my wave cap back in
Yeah.
the day that I had here.
Right. Right. Yes, sir. All right. Well, cool, man. And then you said you went to East. What middle school you go to?
So I actually went to Gove,
Oh,
which is
okay.
no
Oh,
longer in existence. So I went to Gove Junior High over there off of 14th in
yep. Yep.
Colorado.
I went there too,
Then,
man. For,
oh, did you?
yeah, for eighth grade. I went to Hill
Oh,
for sixth and seventh, but Gove, yep, for eighth grade, man. So,
okay. Yeah, I was there sixth, seventh, eighth. I remember. So sixth grade is when Columbine happened.
oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so when I was in sixth grade, that's when Columbine happened, and I had family like out of state, like because they didn't know,
Right.
they just hear like shooting at a school in Colorado, so they were calling like my family, like is BJ okay? Is everything? It's like, oh yeah, that's at a high school, in
Yep.
whole another part of town.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good
yeah,
distance, man. I was in
oh
ninth
yeah,
grade,
for
man. So
sure.
you were a few years behind me. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
just a few years. Yeah, man, it's all good though.
Yeah.
We
No,
right there.
man. That's what's up. Then you went to
So,
East. I went to East as well, but only for a semester, man. I didn't do too well in East, man. I transferred to South for the rest of my my high school days, you
yeah,
know. But yeah, yeah.
yeah, you couldn't hang with all the pretty girls, huh? I know it. Yep.
I mean, had to stay out of get out of trouble, man, and just hang out with the ladies. You know what I mean? So, uh,
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
yes, sir.
Nah, man, but hey, you still went to DPS,
Yep,
so that's cool.
yep, sure did, man. Cool, man. With the East, and so basically, man, I mean, back in your childhood days, what kind of inspired you at that time to pursue the path that you're going on today, if anything?
Yeah. So it's funny, right? Is that there there wasn't really like a moment that when I was a kid that said, "Hey,
Yep,
this," right? There wasn't really a moment. I would say it was just a culmination of experiences, really. Just along the way, like at every little stage of my life. My dad having me. I won't say this. He wasn't just having me watch like certain films. He just happened to be watching them, and they were not age
yeah,
appropriate, and I just sat down and started
yeah, I
watching
got
them.
you. Yep,
Right.
yep.
So stuff like the movie Serafina,
Okay,
right, talking about apartheid in South
yep,
Africa and that
right,
struggle. So I'm like I'm watching that type of movie when I'm a very impressionable like
yeah,
5 year old, 6 year old, right? Like something I shouldn't be watching, but
right,
I'm watching it. My dad's like, yeah, okay, watch it, and I like the songs too, so they were
yeah,
kind of cool. But so like watching like different shows like that, like Malcolm X, when I'm like a
right,
little kid, which is a long movie for a little
yeah,
kid. It's a long movie for an adult, but watching
right,
Roots, watching all these different types of movies that dealt with slavery or black oppression or this is that and the other, and then so like that kind of got me just that plus the experience, my lived experience dealing with the police and profiling of a
yep,
black boy, right?
yep,
When I was a kid, seeing how we would go into certain stores
yep,
and be followed, right, and be watched constantly. So just like seeing some of these movies, reading some of the books that I read. Like one of the earliest books I can remember reading was this book. It was I don't know if you remember like back in the day the Scholastics books that we
oh
would
yeah,
get
yeah,
like
yeah,
in
yeah,
elementary school. Yeah.
yep,
So I got a book. It was about George Washington Carver,
yeah,
right, and the peanut guy. And so reading about like his success story, and then also one called Frederick Douglass Fights for Freedom,
oh, okay,
right? So reading books like that and seeing I'm a big history nerd.
yeah,
I love history.
that's what's up.
I got a story. Is funny, real quick story. When I was in high school, I was in a American history class, and it is my sophomore year, and it's a mix of sophomore and juniors in the class. And I would sleep like through the class every single day. I'm sleeping like to where I'm drooling. Okay, like that kind of sleep. I was getting some good sleep in that class. And one of the junior girls, like she wasn't doing so hot in the class, and she kind of called me out, but called out like the teacher was like, "Hey, how come BJ sleeps through every single class and is getting an A, and I'm struggling over here trying to get a C?" And the teacher said, like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was basically like, well, some people get it and some people don't, right?
Yeah, okay.
and that's just me just being a big history nerd.
Yeah.
It's like I know it, like I love it. I feed into it. So I keep those things in the back of my mind. I like studying history, and so Black history.
Yeah.
So that kind of got me, all those different experiences got me onto, the Black economic mobility and uplift and all that stuff, wanting us to be better because, hey, it's a shared experience. It's what I have to deal with. Let's all work together to do better.
Right.
But in addition to that, man, like there's so much more like to things that I am and that I do. I mean, from a financial standpoint, I love just economics and finance. I like budgeting. Like I have a spreadsheet for budgeting and all this stuff in my life. And, I'll put this out there. A lot of people don't know this. And I don't speak about it to brag, but I want to encourage people that they can do this too, is that my wife and I bought our first house in March of 2009. Okay. And by October of 2013, we paid it off and owned the title.
Wow, man. Yeah.
Right? Now that's not just the house. We also paid off my car loan that I had at the time and my student loans, all within that same period.
Man. Okay. That's what's up.
So it's like from a financial perspective, and I'm not going to say it was easy. I mean, literally, like the way that we did it, because people are like, how the heck did you do that? And I'm like, well, it's simple. One, we had a goal. Two, we were disciplined in our objective in meeting that goal. And so what we did, we had I'll say this, a fund budget at the time. Our fund budget was $100 a month. Now that included going out to eat, movies, Redbox at the time if we were doing that, all that kind of stuff, right? So we're spending that was our max. It was $100 for fun. Everything else went to the mortgage,
man,
right?
Wow. And that was during the housing crisis as well. Wow.
Right. Yeah, during the housing crisis, people losing their jobs, and that's kind of really what spurred us, right? So my wife, she said, because we're Christians, and she believes in, we believe in Jesus, but she was like, God gave me this thought of we should pay off the mortgage, and she didn't say nothing to me at the time. She says, and then like a week later, I come to her and I'm like, babe, with everybody like losing their jobs and we don't know what's going to happen, this is that and the other, we need to pay off this house so that if anything were to happen to us, like from a job perspective, we at least have a place to live and we don't have to worry about it. Right. And she was like, yeah, God just told me that like a week ago, but I wasn't saying nothing. And now here you are confirming that. So let's do it. And so, we were looking at that, like the situation, the economic landscape, and said, hey, we need to do this. And so we did, to where we not on purpose, right? But they felt alienated, friends and family, because we're like, we're not going to go out and spend this money. Like, this is our budget. This is what we got. Like, you can come over and we can play some cards, where we turn off, lights. When you're not in the room, you're not using it. Do you need a light? We kept the heat low and the air conditioning low. In the wintertime, we're putting on more clothes. We're holding that in the house. In the summertime, we're taking off more clothes, which is not a bad thing. We're young married couple. But stuff like that. Like we would plan our going out strategically so that we could minimize our gas usage, right? So we would say like, all right, where do we have to go? Do we have to go today, or can we lump it in with like the next things that we have to do like tomorrow or the next day or whatever? And we go, in this order so that we're like not jumping around. And so like we planned this stuff, like we were strategic about it. And it doesn't take, it's not hard. It just, you have to do it and you have to stick to it. So we were disciplined in that, where we didn't let things deter us from that mission. A lot of people will be like, yeah, that's like a Kobe thing, like a Mamba mentality, right? Like you were super focused on your goal. And so we did those kinds of things, and then wound up, again, it started off, we paid off my car first because that was the least amount of loan that we had. So I paid off the car. Then we paid off my student loans, and we did that within like the first 6 months of buying our house. And then after that, we just put everything towards the mortgage, and we're living off of one income basically, for lights, insurances, food, that kind of thing. And then everything else, like the other income, was going to the mortgage. And you can typically only do that if you got two people working in the house. So it's kind of hard to do it with one that fast anyway. But I mean, it can be done. You just have to. It's going to take you a lot longer. So like there's that part of it, man. Like so and for me, I grew up in a household from a financial perspective where like my parents are boomers. So the boomer mentality is like, yeah, we just gonna spend, right? That's what boomers do. They're like, yeah, we got it, let's buy it, And so my parents lived that way, and I used to live that way, but I was a little bit more conservative than my parents. Like growing up, like I would try and put like stuff when I started working into like a CD. I was like, oh, I want to get a return. I want to get a return on my investment. So like, I had that in me. And then when I went to college, this is the thing that really changed it for me. My freshman year of college, I'm in an economics 101 class. And we're talking macroeconomics, okay? And yep. And so we're in there. We're talking about inventory and the cost of inventory, right? So it's like when a company buys inventory, they're sinking money into this product that then sits on the shelf, and they don't make any money on it until it gets bought. And at the time, right, like I was like it was the jersey era, right, where we all had jerseys, right? Basketball, football, we were all wearing jerseys and such. So at the time, I remember thinking about that and like, okay, I can only wear one jersey at a time, and I'm moving in this direction where I'm not like I can't be wearing jerseys at like these internships or this and that and other. So does it make sense for me to have them? And so in my closet at the time, man, I had probably like 10, 12 jerseys, and like 4 or 5 of them were like brand new, never even worn. Maybe. So I'm like, at the time you're talking like $110 a pop. You're looking at, around like $1,200, $1,500 if you add them all up that are just sitting in my closet. And I was like, what could money like that? Like if I only had one jersey, I'm still on one jersey, like $100. Okay, let me take the other $1,400, $1,350, whatever. Right. And I could have invested that and got a return on my money.
Yep.
Instead of now, it's just money just sitting there in my closet, right? So that really got me thinking more about like finance from that class and money and like what you do with it. And it was return on investment as well. So it's like, okay, there's nothing wrong with buying clothes and having nice things and doing that stuff, but what's my return? What am I getting out of that? And am I just getting a satisfaction of, hey, I got some cool clothes? Or is it, hey, I'm going to invest in suit, like, because at the time I was like, all right, I need to invest in suits and, dress shirts and ties. I need to have that in my wardrobe and not go out and buy new jerseys, because those are the that's where I'm going with my career
Yep.
when I, for
Yep.
internships and then post collegiate work. So it's like, okay, stop putting money here because that's just going to be
Yep.
money that's sitting there, and I still got to go buy the dress clothes, and then allocate that money towards dress clothes because I'm going to get a return on that investment because that's what I'm going to have to wear to work to make more money, right? So I started thinking more about return on investment, and so that really helped change me from being a spender like my boomer parents were, to being more focused on what's my return, to being an investor, right? And so I look at that as being a big shift in my mentality as it comes to money. Even though like I still kind of had some there, but that really like said, no, stop this, definitely go after that, right? So I pursued that like through college, or where I was putting up money again in long term CDs and money market accounts, like in college, because I was like, listen, I could get at the time, I don't know, like 3-4% return or whatever, versus my money sitting in a savings account that was getting like 0.003. Yeah, basically nothing, right? And I was looking at actively putting money into those things because I didn't really know much about the stock market,
right, as it is now.
Of like how to get into it, because it wasn't as easy then as it is now to. Yeah, you can just open up a brokerage account and just start trading. It was more difficult at that time, even though it was starting to like with what I want to say, it was like E-Trade was just kind of like a ride. Yeah. E-Trade was there. Scott Trade kind of was just coming out. But I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Right.
So I was like, yeah.
And that's nothing that was common in the community either. Not too many people knew how to do anything like that. So yeah, man, you couldn't just ask the next person at all. So
yeah, and that's part of it, right? It's like in my circle, in my community, in my family, it's like I don't know anybody who knows how to do that. And so the value of knowing people who do know about those things, even if they're not really involved in them, right, is so crucial.
Right.
It's so crucial. That's one of the things I want to do with the program that I'm doing, right? Shout out Inroads, College Links. I'm the new program manager for the Denver market.
Congrats, man. Yes, sir.
Ooh, yeah. Let's get these high school students this access and this opportunity. And so, like, talking to them about those things is like, listen, your little friend group is cool. At a certain point, you're going to grow up and you're going to be in the real world with the rest of us. And you're going to want to know some of these things. You're going to want to, even if you don't know who they are, you need to know how to get to those people. Right. So, like teaching them those things, having those conversations with them. And so I wish, again, my parents, they did the best they could with what they had at the time. Right. And so with what they gave me, did for me, and then me taking that and running with it, and then learning through my experience and having other people in my life that could give me advice, and I'll say this, wanting more, right? Me wanting more, because there's a mentality out there that you'll find like from the hood, from where we grew up, the East Side, inner city Denver, right at the time, where it's like people have a mentality of they don't want to do it. They don't like, they can do the same thing. Like I say, I have family members from the same place that I was, right? And they've gone in totally different directions in their lives. And it's like, well, do you want better? Or are you comfortable with just having what you got? And for me, I like nice things. So so I want to do what it takes to get nice things and keep nice things, right? I like vacations, to tropical beaches, I like being able to run out to eat with friends or whoever and not have to think about, man, do I got the money? Like that in and of itself is a luxury that we don't talk about, right? Where it's like, I remember back when I was a broke kid, where it's just like, man, for lunch, man, all I got is like 2 nickels,
Right.
right? Can I bum $1 off somebody so I can get a Biggie fry
Right.
at Wendy's?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I've been in that situation, and it sucks, and it's like, as a man, the way that I grew up, right, in terms of manhood, I don't think this is talked about enough, right? Is that we don't have definitions for manhood anymore. We don't practice manhood. We don't live out manhood anymore. Everybody's wants to be like talking about toxic masculinity, this, that, and the other. I'm like, no, like there are roles for us, and as a man, and how I was raised, and from family members, my parents, and this is that and the other. It's
Right.
like, you take care of
your
household, right? You take care of yours. You first and foremost, you take care of your household, and you make sure that you're straight. And so for me, like, I don't want to ask anybody.
Yep, I hear you.
If I need help, it's because I really need help, and there's nothing else that I can figure out to do. But like, I'm not gonna, like I said, I want nice things, but I'm not gonna go and ask somebody else to fund me
these nice things.
Nice things. I'm gonna go work for it. I'm gonna go work for it. I'm gonna put into work. I'm gonna save my money, and then I'm gonna go get those nice things. I'm gonna make sure that I'm straight. I don't want to be the guy where it's like, hey, we going out. Oh, man, I ain't got it. I can't go out because of a fun situation. Like, nah, like, let's go. Shoot. Matter of fact, first round's on me.
Yep.
Like, don't, hey, whoever's watching this, the first round. Like,
hey, too late, man. Too late.
With money, so you can buy your own round. But from that standpoint, it's like, I'm big into the money side of, people should know how to utilize money. It's a tool, right? It's not the end in and of itself. Like $100 bill has no value except for what we give it. You rip that $100 bill up, what is it? Right. It's worth nothing, right? All it is some piece of paper that's like in pieces now. So it's a tool to be used, not something that we need to like give ourselves over to. And there's so many different mechanisms for us to utilize that tool in a positive way to benefit ourselves and to benefit others. And I love just sharing and helping people like in that space, to understand, like, you could do this differently. You could be better in this particular way. You can do what I've done. Like, coming from where I've come from, like, you could do the same thing, but you have to switch your mindset about it. Again, like I said, the mentality of a lot of people is that they're comfortable with what they have. That's why they don't get anything.
Yeah, I feel you. I've seen that quite a bit in the community. Even doing the things that I do with the nonprofit organization, reaching out to people, you still see that there are people that are not willing, to take that extra step, which is a trip. No matter if it's free or if you got to charge, man, you don't see as many people as you feel would take a leap at that opportunity, which is crazy. Which is crazy, man. That kind of takes me back real quick to what you're saying about college, man. That you're taking macroeconomics, right? And that changed your mindset. And it's crazy because I went to college later on. I didn't finish until 2021, but I went for business, and I went through that same course. And I think it was 2019, or it was probably 2020, man. I was still taking the course, but I was learning about, inflation and all that other stuff, man. You pump too much money into the economy, then, they got to raise interest rates and kind of pull back. And that was actually occurring. That's when they were starting to send out those stimulus packages. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, I was just learning about, so what's going to happen is they're going to pump so much money into the economy that everything's going to raise up, and then we will be hurting. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I didn't turn the stimulus package away.
Right. You took it.
I'm like, this is what's about to happen. And then seeing it progress,
Right.
but taking that class actually is what changed my mindset into understanding, about finances and everything. And there's a coworker that I work with. He was an older white guy, right? And I'm still learning, going to college, thinking I'm getting an education, which I was getting an education. But he pulled me aside and he was like, "So, where are you allocating your 401k?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I just maxed out at 6%, and I got this and that." And he was like, he kept kind of telling me, "Hey, let me show you how it's done." And
Mm-hmm.
I was a little reluctant for a while, but after a minute, because he was always the finance guy, he was always talking about his 2 homes that he bought when he was younger, and then he invested in his 401k, this and all that. All right, man. So I pulled it up, and he was like, "He's all right, man. This is what you do. All right, now look at the past 3 months of these stocks. Kind of look at the trend. Okay, well, right here, this is what I would suggest for you to move your 401k over to." He said, "Don't look at it for 3 months."
Right.
I was all right, so I moved it over. 3 months later, I looked at it, and my return was at 15%.
Nice.
At the time, I was like, wow, and for that year, I hit about 16 or 17% return on just that change I made,
Which is huge.
and that just blew my mind, man. I didn't know nothing about stocks or anything, but seeing just that little change and the return that I got just from that little push,
Yeah.
and going to college at that time changed my whole aspect about finances, man. So it was at a later time, man. It wasn't in 2009 or anything, but it was kind of the same process
Right.
that a lot of people don't feel like going to college can benefit, but simply going to college, learning about economics or even finances can change your
Yeah.
whole perspective on how to balance and manage your finances big time, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
But
it's huge. I mean,
yeah, getting
like,
people to understand, man, is the struggle. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, yeah. And it's funny because like you brought up a good point. Like you saw him, like you were reluctant to listen to him at
Yep.
first, but then
Right.
but you said, but I see, he's got these 2 houses and this, that, and the other, right? So
Yep.
like what's funny is we'll do that same thing, but we'll do it with the drug dealer, the gang member,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh, I see what they got, so I want that. And it's
Right.
like, so we could do it there, or like the athlete, right? It'll be like, oh, I see what Michael Jordan, like how he plays. I'm gonna try and practice and emulate what he does. So like
Mm-hmm.
we see the
Right.
benchmarks, but we don't apply that same level of thinking to these other sources
Yep.
where it's like, what, like go to Cherry Hills,
Right.
like go knock on the door and find out how they got that house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And that's what
Like that.
I told my wife that, we used to drive, I'm what, on Montview and down, man, um,
17.
17th. Yeah, exactly. There you go. 17th and all those
Yep.
houses. And when I was younger, we used to drive through, going to places. And I tell my wife, I'm like, I guarantee you, not everybody over here are athletes or anything like that. They have some type of occupation. And I was like, man, I just want to ask them what your occupation is, and I guarantee it's not always the doctor, it's not always an athlete, it's
Right.
not always this, but it's something that you can achieve, because if you think about
Mhm.
sports, what less than 1% of people that actually play sports their whole life actually make it into to being a basketball player. But I
Yeah.
mean, there's these other careers out there, and a lot of people don't pursue that. That definitely make that money. So that's one of the points, man, of like those houses that you're talking about, Cherry Hills especially too.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. And it's like we can apply it in these other aspects of our lives that aren't necessarily, again, positive or going
Mm-hmm.
to give us the experiences or returns that we should be going
Right.
after, right? I mean, the drug game, the gang game, like, that's
Yeah.
not necessarily gonna give you a long life or a happy
Right.
life, right?
Right.
But we look at it as like, oh, these guys in the neighborhood, they got the power, right? They have the prestige because they're driving around in a nice car. They got the women, or people respect them. Ain't nobody gonna mess with
Yep.
them. That kind of thing, right?
Right.
It's like, Well, what you think? Like these folks, dude. There's so much money in this city.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
But it's like if you go over there, like I'm just gonna say Cherry Hills, again. But it's like you go over to Cherry Hills, and it's like, dude, they're doing the same thing where they got the cars and the women
hmm
and the respect because nobody gonna mess with them, but they're doing it with a
yeah, right,
pen. They're doing it in
yeah,
the boardroom. They're doing it legally, and like instead of the cars, they got
right,
yachts and
yep,
vacation homes, and airplanes. Like I kid you not, dude. There's places here I didn't even know this existed until the
yeah.
pandemic hit, and I went and drove for Amazon
Oh,
for a
okay,
couple of
yeah, right,
weeks.
yep,
But I was driving out in Elbert County, right, like right between like basically
oh,
Southlands
yeah, yeah, yep,
Mall and like and
okay,
Parker, like going out
yep,
that direction, like somewhere between there. And there's an airplane community, so like how there's these golf
yeah,
course
yeah.
communities. People live
Oh,
off
I
the
think I
golf
know exactly
course,
what you're
right?
talking about. Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's an airplane community where like you're literally living off of an
Yeah,
airfield
yeah,
out here. And it's like, and you the only way that you could buy into that community is if you got an airplane.
crazy,
And I'm
right,
like,
right,
bro, I didn't even know that existed
yep,
until I saw that. And I'm like, I'm pretty well, like, I'm pretty
yeah,
knowledgeable about some things, but like, I saw that and was like,
yeah,
wow, this is out
crazy,
here for
yep,
real.
yep, that's wild.
So it's like they're living that kind of life, and it's like,
Yep,
okay, how'd you get that?
yep,
I want to do that. That's where
right,
our mentality needs to be. We need to be looking at, man, like I said, I like nice things, so I'm interested in like that kind of stuff. For people who don't like nice things, if y'all still want,
yeah,
WIC checks and Section 8, I mean,
yep,
you're gonna continue to have
right,
WIC checks and Section 8. Just don't get on Facebook saying that
man.
you wish you had better when you could
And
easily
don't
go
don't
and
front
do
on Facebook
it.
either. Like you got it. Because yeah, I'm not against it.
That part.
If you're going to use it to help you get through a hard time to build yourself up. I feel that. But
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
use it for if you need it, but put in work and elevate yourself. So
Yeah, exactly. And then it's funny because I'm sorry I said Facebook, so
yeah,
that gets me into a whole nother space. But it's like you'll you'll see a lot of women out there like, oh, I
hmm
need a man with this, that, and the other, and it's like,
right,
wait, hold on, but so you say that you want that? Are you building your life to
right, yeah,
attract that kind of man?
right,
Right, because like you want a man who's got this kind of income and this and these kind of investments and does this and does that, but are you building that,
yep,
and vice versa too, right? I don't want to single out the ladies on that, but it's like if you want that, then you have to
yeah,
bring
right,
that yourself, because here at the end of the day, there's a reason why like old school and even in some countries like today they still do this where they're marrying like certain
yep,
into certain families, and it's like back in the day they used to do this a lot where it was like we want our son to marry
hmm
your daughter, right? Because that brings like we know like what type of family you are, like the aristocracy and the money and the connections, and we want to marry that so that we build together as a
right,
larger family. It's like, so if like they weren't marrying, it wasn't you weren't having a king
right,
marrying some peasant, no matter what
yeah, yeah,
Hollywood
right,
like would have you try and believe. But you know what I'm saying? Like it was like no, a king, like
yep,
you got the Duke of France marrying
right,
the Duchess of Spain kind of thing, and they're bringing in those families to unite to continue to build their wealth and so on and so forth. Same kind of thing goes out here. Like I mean, if two people want to marry each other, like or get together, and it's like you got a bus pass, I got
hmm
a bus pass. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying you can't be like, hey, I got a
right,
bus pass and I want the
yep,
person with the plane.
right. Yep, exactly,
You might want to step
exactly.
it up a little bit.
Well, that's. I mean, it points out a lot of things, about the community and everything that we see as well. And social media doesn't help with
Yeah.
that because, when social media first started, or even reality TV first started, a lot of that stuff was looked at as low rated B level type of stuff, when it first came out. But now we're what, 20 years into reality TV and plus years of social media, and that's the norm now. That's all a lot of people even know. So it's no longer like a B level thing. It's to
Yeah.
People that don't know no better. That's how life should be. And that's the perception that they're seeing. It's a false perception.
Right.
But a lot of other people older people, or people that just pay attention to certain things, they know better. But I mean, it far outweighs, people that kind of know reality versus people that just follow social media to try to follow those trends. And a prime example of that is, I always want to post this, but marketing, right? Marketing. If you ever took a course in marketing, you will look at every product the same, because at the end of the day, they're all the same. Marketing just makes you feel like there's a difference between things that you buy, right? So that's how social media is.
Man,
it's all marketing. It's everything that you view is going to be the same, but they market it extremely well, and it's in the palm of your hands anyway. So more people are going to follow the trend these days, the bandwagon fallacy, versus trying to really understand what's going on, and that kind of drives what men feel like they need a relationship, or even women, like you're saying, needing something extra of what they're not bringing to the table. That's all, to me, kind of a marketing tactic that a lot of social media and reality TV has kind of brought to light. Man, it's unfortunate though. So
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Okay.
and it's funny because I was a marketing major. Yeah, so it's like marketing's huge with me. Like it's so cool.
Yeah.
Like I'll go back and like see old
Oh,
movies
yeah.
from the
Right,
80s.
big time.
80s was when like product placement was huge. Yeah, so they were putting product placement like in all kinds of movies, all over the place. The Pepsi can, the Burger King here, like Best Buy, Circuits, like it was crazy, man. Like the product placement that they would do in the 80s. So it's just fun.
Yeah,
for me
exactly.
To like look at that and with a totally different lens now. But yeah, I mean, like you're right. Like the marketing piece of what social media is and all this stuff. It's like how you know the when you post something, let's say on Facebook, right? When you post something on Facebook, the reason you're posting, you probably like what it is, or like if it's a personal comment, then you're trying to get attention. You're trying to see who likes it, who comments on it. Otherwise, you would never post it. You would just think it to yourself, right? You're posting this thing because you're like, you want to include others in the conversation, because we're social beings, right? And like you said, it's the bandwagon fallacy. It's like, we're sheep at a basic level. People are sheep. You just follow. Okay, other sheep goes, cool. Let's follow the other sheep. So we gravitate towards what other people are doing, whether good or bad, right? And so, I mean, think about slavery in America, or how Hitler got all those Germans to go and kill all those Jews in World War II. It's like it was the thing to do. A lot of Jews will point like, no, it wasn't just the thing to do, but it's like, I mean, how else do you get all these people to do that? Like, yeah, there was like coercion, but I mean, I'll digress for just a second. Like, there's a lot of things that we can learn from Hitler, right? Yes, and people like, oh my gosh, you can't learn anything from, like, no, like, how did he get an entire country to do what they did?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that we can learn from that, from a marketing perspective. And utilize and not just marketing, but from a movement perspective. How do we then get people to move in positive ways? Because I want to stay the negative like that. We don't want a Holocaust, right? But how, what did he do? What kinds of things? Even like, like him or not, depending on your views, like whoever's watching this, that, and the other. But like Donald Trump,
Right.
is it
Yep.
like has studied, at least he has said, like
Yeah.
some of Hitler's like
Yeah.
routines,
Right.
some of the things that he's done, and why do you think he's got this base that he has? Right?
Yep.
That continues
Yep.
to follow him, even with legal allegations of him being
Yeah.
a criminal and doing
Exactly.
all
Right. Right. Yep.
right.
Yep.
Same kind of thing. Like Hitler, even though you're killing people for no reason, like because
You
they
still
don't
gotta
have
hold
blonde
it.
hair and blue eyes, we're
Right.
still gonna go with you.
Yep.
Like
Exactly.
there's something to that. So again, sorry, I digress, but like
No, no,
talking
you
about how
good. Yeah, no, perfect point, man. Perfect point.
talking about how we're sheep, we tend to follow stuff. So yeah, when there are things like just kind of tying back to the neighborhood, right? It's like we see this is where the direction that people are going. So yeah, I'm gonna follow like what they're doing. Like whether even though it's not uplifting to me, even though it's not the best thing, and
Yep.
it takes other people and other experiences to get people out of that, to get them
Right.
away from the herd, right?
Yep.
I think one of the best things that can happen for a kid in the hood, let's just say the hood, right?
Yep.
One of the best things that can happen for them is they need to get out of the city.
Yes.
Out of
Exactly.
the city.
Right.
They need to see another part of Colorado, see another state, see some get out of it. I had a friend in high school. The first time he was ever out of the city of
Yeah.
Denver, like not even like to Castle Rock, not even to like CSU up in
Yeah.
Fort Collins, nothing. First time he was ever out of the city of Denver was when we were going to take a friend who was
Yep.
older than us to college summer orientation, and so we went during that summer, and he was going to be a freshman like
Yep.
in the fall. So we go out, and this is an 18-year-old. He's 18 years old. That's the first time he's out of the
Dang,
city.
crazy. Crazy.
Never seen anything outside of the Denver metro area, the 470 loop. Let's say that.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? And it's like, and he's from the east side, came from a family full of
Yeah.
gang members,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. And he had, that loose affiliation. He
Right.
wasn't in it, but he had loose affiliation because of family. But finally got him out at 18 years old,
Yep.
right? To see just outside of
Yeah.
the city. And we went to a different state, which was really cool. So he got to
Yep.
experience that. But it's like, how many other people never get
Right.
that experience? All they know is their neighborhood, is the hood, is the trauma,
Yeah.
is the
Right.
drama, is the
Yeah.
bad things. And it's like, nah, you need to. There's so much more
Yep.
to this life
Oh yeah.
than
Big time.
that.
Big time. Yeah, not a lot of people do, and yeah, I'd encourage my kids to do so as well. Just to get out, man. So I do make it a point to travel to as many places we can for vacation. We drove through. We went to Florida, but we made a point to stop in Texas, which that's where all my family's from. We shot over down to Louisiana, for a couple of days. So we were in New Orleans, so they experienced that. Went up to Atlanta, which I love. I mean, Atlanta was like a whole different atmosphere, man, when I was out there. And I know a lot of people say that it's a culture shock, especially from Denver out there. And then I see a lot of people from Atlanta say the same thing when they come out to Denver. Don't get me started on that. Don't come out here talking about soul food because, I grew up eating soul food.
Right.
I didn't call it soul food. I just called it food. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The food.
Ain't go, so but anyway. But great place. Atlanta's a great place, hot. But then we went to Florida as well. So it's always trying to make sure that they see those different cultures, man, because just Denver versus Texas for sure. But New Orleans, man, is like, I mean, you seem like you're in a whole different country out there. You know what I mean? So yeah, getting kids out at an early age, letting them see that there's a lot more than just, drug dealing, gang banging, and all that stuff. But honestly, man, in the early 2000s, I'm not saying it completely died down, but it wasn't as bad, with gangs as it is now. So the late 80s, the 90s, definitely, and then it calmed down in the 2000s a little bit. I mean, it wasn't as bad. I mean, a lot of people I became friends with. I'm friends with today from the east side as well. But man, I mean, the gang violence just over the last 10 years, man, it's just gotten crazy and out of hand as well, which is crazy.
Yeah. I don't know what do you think you attribute that to?
So honestly, my opinion for that is that generation, this
Yeah.
generation coming up, they didn't really grow up seeing it firsthand. You know what I mean? So they're kind of playing,
Mm,
I wouldn't say fantasy because I mean it's reality, but it's like 80s and 90s,
yeah.
right? A lot of people in the hood kind of wanted to be like the the mafia type mindset.
Mm,
They always name themselves after a Luciano or something like that, and kind of grow up in the hood.
right, right.
And then in the 2000s and everything, I mean, that was a generation that actually seen as kids, hood drive-bys, people
Mm,
dying and stuff like that, so we kind of gravitated a little bit away from that. But then now this next generation, they see that stuff on TV and they don't really experience it as much, man, and they're just really playing that role. But once you put a gun in anybody's hand, I mean,
mm,
anybody can become dangerous. So I think it's kind of
right.
a mixture of a lot of that, So what's your opinion?
Mm. I think as like with any
Yeah,
violent space, um, typically, I'll say in America because I can't speak for like other places around the world because they got
yeah,
some weird stuff that goes on. But for America, I'd say with the violent spaces, especially like you've seen like a lot of like recent gun
right,
kids getting shot.
yep,
Southland, there was something recently like a couple months ago and so on and so forth. And it's like the lack of
yeah, yeah,
fathers in the household and positive
right, right,
male role models, right? Because at the end of the day, right, like you get these kids and when they're teenagers,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
bigger
right,
than mom. What's mom gonna do, right? Mom, and they're getting that testosterone for the first time, right?
right,
So they're really feeling themselves, and they think they can go and do stuff, and they don't have that counter testosterone in the household or around them. That'd be like, listen,
yep,
boy, like better sit down. Like you think like
yeah,
this,
right, right,
you just got this. I've had it for some years,
yep,
okay? Sit your butt down, right? So they don't have that anymore, or period. And I think that's what
yep,
is a primary cause for youth violence, for gang violence. Period is they don't have that counterbalance in the household. You got a lot of single moms raising these kids, a lot of families that have dads
yeah,
that are very soft. I'll say that. Like they're not asserting that male authority and I don't want to use the word dominance in a bad way, but in a positive way, right? They're not
yeah. A certain way of steering control over
right,
the energy.
exactly,
Yeah,
right, right. Where it's
yeah, yeah,
like, calm down, Junior. You know,
right, yeah,
like,
yep,
listen, like, yeah, you getting out of control. You gonna rebel a little bit, but at the end of the day, you gonna be in line. Okay, you ain't gonna go out
right,
here and do no
right,
craziness. I'll say for all intents and purposes of like the relationship that I have with my father is like the dude
hmm,
was he was a rough guy. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
there wasn't gonna be no playing with my pops. And so when it came to that stuff, like, you know, there was no getting out of line with that, right?
yep, yeah. That's how
My
my
dad,
pops was.
yeah,
Yep,
it's
same way.
like he gonna lay it down for you, like, nah.
Right.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think that to answer your question, I think yeah, that would be my observation
yeah,
for why.
yeah. And to add on top of that, it also kind of steers kids in those type of environments. In that atmosphere with the lack of somebody kind of helping them steer the energy. Man, is that they don't have a something to look forward to. They don't have that goal of okay, I want to be at this point in my life. It's they're kind of living day in and day out.
Yeah.
And without that, what are they going to do when they're out in the streets? they're gonna make those bad decisions, because
Hmm.
they're not thinking 5 years in
Right.
the future, 10 years in the future, and it's not just about finances. It's not just about you wanting to be rich in 10 years, but you wanted it to
Stable.
be stable. Just being stable is a goal that kids often don't have, and it does often need to have that type of person in the household to help them with that as well, man. So,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah, for sure, for
yep,
sure. I mean, and it could even come from people outside the household too, right?
right,
I mean, I had a lot of uncles. My grandfather on my mom's side was in my life, and so like I got a lot of positive male influence in my life in particular.
yep,
There's a lot of negative male influence too, but
yeah, right,
there was a lot of positive as well, and you know um, I saw I'll say from both sides of my family, right? I saw people who get up and go to work
hmm,
and handle their
yeah,
business,
right,
you know, on both sides. And then I also saw people, again, my family, who would get up and do
yeah,
nothing, right? And the people who did nothing, like, I'm just going to say that,
yeah,
Section 8, they're into different kinds of
right,
addictions, right? Controlled substances, alcohol, drugs, this, that, and the other. Like I didn't want to be around like their houses because they smelled and they were
yeah,
junky,
right,
right? So I didn't want to. If we were visiting, I didn't want to go around them, kind of thing. I wanted to be around the people who were building, who like took care of their yard, who took care of their house because it looked like, man, this is a nice place to be. It was
yeah,
comfortable, right? Those were comfortable. And I'm not talking like family wasn't rich. They were just taking care of their business. They were going to work, paying bills, taking care of the things that they got because they
right,
owned it, right? So I think ownership is a
yep,
value as well. But I saw that. Like I saw both sides of the coin there on both sides of my family. And it was just like, okay, like I feel a certain way in this
yep,
environment. I feel a certain way in that environment. I like this one over here. I want to do
right,
what they do.
right,
You know, nobody again bursting at the seams with money, coming out their ears or anything like that. But I'm like, okay, I I go to work. At least I know that I go to work. I pay
yep,
my bills. I can have some nice things. Cool. Let's
right,
get on it.
right, yep. Basically, work hard and
You know.
then be able to take it easy versus taking it easy and then having to struggle and work hard later on. You know what I mean? What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Right.
You're gonna have to make that choice
Right.
for
Yeah.
sure, man.
Right.
So yeah, real quick, man, before we close it out,
Yeah.
share some
Sure.
about your program, man. I think it's very important, and I want to make sure that you address
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, definitely. So, Inroads College Links program is a program for high school students. Essentially, we want to pipeline them into our college
Mm-hmm.
internship program. So, students that go to college, we want to help them get into
Right.
that program as well. So, if they go through the high school program, they immediately get access to that internship program for college. Now, what we're doing is career and college readiness at the high school level. So freshmen all the way through seniors, they can start at any point in that time frame. But if they started as a freshman, they at least get
Yeah.
four
Right.
years of constant
Yep.
development, growth,
Yep.
and training. But we'll take them at any point
Right.
throughout the year and at any point throughout their high school
Okay.
curriculum, right? And so that said, we're doing things where we're working with them on the career side to from as basic as how to shake hands, look somebody in the
Yeah.
eye, and enunciate your name when meeting them, right? So that basic level to okay, great. Where is it? What is it that you like and that you're good at, and where do those intersect? And let's explore that career option for you and get you mentorship, get you job shadowing, get you
Right.
maybe an internship in high school into that field, and then start working towards what does it take to get you into that once you graduate, whether that's going to college for a degree for that field, or can you go right into that, or do you need some other kind of training or skills for that, right? So that's on the career side. On the college side, then we're exploring everything from, do you even want to go to college? Right? Having that conversation to, okay, let's talk about like what college is and why it exists and what are the positive things for college? What are the negative things for college? How to finance that? Do you want to stay here in the state if you do go to college, or do you want to get as far away from it as possible?
Yeah.
What is the freshman 15, right? That 15 pounds that you're going to put on your freshman year because you're sitting around eating late night pizza and ramen noodles and, you know, got all you can eat buffet at the cafeteria. So you just loading up. I remember this. I'm going to stop right quick because I got to share a college story. So I remember this, right? So my wife and I, we went to two different schools, 30 minutes apart. She went to the expensive state institution, and I went to the to the HBCU that didn't have a whole lot of money, right? That's it. I would go to the cafeteria with her sometimes at her school. I go visit her like on the weekend, and I remember they would have like ice cream, like where you can go and scoop your own ice cream or whatever. So they have tubs of ice cream in there. They also had like a waffle maker. So what I would do is I would go and I would make a waffle, and then I would take ice cream and put it on top of the waffle, and I make different kind of like waffle sundaes.
That's crazy, yeah, man.
So fire, but
exactly.
I paid for it in the waistline.
15, freshman 15.
But right, exactly. But we're going to talk about those things, right? And then how to fund college. Looking for scholarships, looking for loans, grants, whatever we can find if you're going there, and all of that. So that's the core of our program. In an auxiliary to that, though, we're going to be doing coaching for jobs. So if you got a high school job, or if you want to get a high school job, I'll help you try and find that, and then do some coaching with you, like how are things going on that job, so on and so forth. Get you plugged into different immersion activities, like I said, job shadowing, or get you plugged into this program that you might have an interest in. Get you tied into some of some of the things like the Righteous Project has going on. So get them plugged into those kinds of things, as well as making sure that, hey, how's school going? How's family life? How are you as a person? Like what are you going through, and like how can I help you? So that's the auxiliary of it, and I think that's where the program can really thrive, is because we're providing those wraparound services for these students in high school who otherwise wouldn't necessarily get it, and there's nothing like that happening for these students, right? Yeah, there's some college and career readiness stuff that some of the districts do, and that there are certain things like this, but it's in school. It's not dedicated to the students, right? They do some it's kind of surface level type stuff. Whereas we're taking these students and we're wrapping, like I said, we're wrapping our arms around them to provide these services and get them plugged into things that the school can't do. The schools cannot do what we do, and it's all outside of school. So we're going to feed these kids. We're going to give them cash prizes and incentive tickets to games, concerts, other things that are out there. So they have a chance to not only be a part of this program and learn and develop and grow while they're in high school, and start with their network, right? Start building their net worth from their network. But we're going to have fun, and they're gonna get rewarded, and it's a lot of value for these students, right? A lot of the things that we talked about that they're gonna get exposure to, that'll change their mindset and get them looking towards a brighter future. And set them up for success.
That's what's up, man. That's big time. I'm glad you're bringing that into our city, man. I think it's important. I think a lot of kids need access to that, because it goes back to them having plans for the future. So for anybody listening, man, where can they find this information at?
Yeah, so you can just go to inroads.org. Again, that's inroads.org, INROADS.org. And you can go to our College Links program and start filling out the application. So there's two programs. I want to mention that. So there is it's our internship program, which is for the college students only. That's what Inroads originally was for. So you want to stay away from that unless you got a college student or somebody going into college, soon. That's where they want to go. But as far as the high school program, it's called College Links. So you look for College Links. It'll take you there. You can apply. You can see all the different criteria. You just need a 2.5 GPA. Be committed to coming once a month throughout the school year for our curriculum. That's October through May is when we'll be doing that. And that's really all you need. Yeah, you have to submit 2 transcripts.
Gotcha.
Or not 2 transcripts, 1 transcript and 2 recommendation letters. I'm sorry. That's easy stuff, right? Bare minimum 2.5 GPA and be committed to coming once a month. And you can apply and pick Denver, and you'll pick Denver, and we'll get you set up.
Nice.
And if you're outside of Denver, we're in 18 other markets. So Oakland, Nashville, Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Houston, Chicago, Newark. So we're all over and growing too. So we're adding more markets and more on the way, as we speak. So
nice. Nice.
Yeah. But I want people in Denver to come.
Yeah, exactly.
So sign up. Sign up for Denver.
Got you, man. We got you. No, that's what's up. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, wait, real quick.
What's up?
Real quick, because I didn't say this. This is free.
Right.
FREE. Free. No cost to anybody.
No reason for you not to sign your kid up. No reason at all.
No reason.
It's big, man. It's big, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do with Inroads as well. So nice work, man. Nice work with everything you do.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, we gonna make
it pop. Yes, sir. Were there any final words you want to share with the audience?
Final words would just be like, listen, I'm nobody special. I'm just a guy. Okay, I am literally. I'm just a guy that's got big dreams and wants nice things for not only myself and my family, but I want nice things for y'all too. Like why go out here and live in trash, or why have a trashy lifestyle when you don't have to? Like it's not something that you have to have. You can choose on your own to do better, to have better. And if you choose that and you work towards it, you deserve it. You put in the work, you be disciplined for whatever that is, your dreams, your financial goals, any other kind of goals, whatever that may be. Like I'm committed right now to serving the Black community here in Colorado and around America as much as my efforts will take me. So that's a dream of mine. That's a goal of mine. And I'm putting forth my efforts in that regard. Inroads is helping me do that as well. So you can do this too. If I can do it, you can do it. I come from the East Side, old East Side, not what they're trying to do to it now, but old East Side when the projects existed and it was run down and so on and so forth. So if I can make it out the hood, you can make it out the hood.
Exactly.
Right? And if you ain't in the hood and you somewhere else nicer, shoot, then you really got to
exactly.
really do this.
Let us know, man. Come on the episode. Man. So that's what's up, BJ. I appreciate that. Appreciate everything you do. Appreciate you coming on to the podcast episode. It means a lot, man. It means a lot to me, to the community, everything you're doing. So keep up the good work, man. All right.
Thank you. You as well, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate being here and spending this time. And if there's anything else I can do for you or any of your listeners, let me know. I'm
definitely stay in contact with you, man, for sure. To the audience, if you guys like what you hear, reach out to your boy, subscribe and like the channel. If you are listening on podcast, the streaming services, any streaming services, you can go to righteousproject.org, support the cause. The more support we get, the more that we can provide this kind of content. Be sure to reach out and talk to BJ as well. He's definitely a friendly dude. Quick story. I don't know if you remember, man, how we met, but it was Juneteenth, man. Exactly.
Down in Juneteenth.
Exactly. That was my first time signing up for Juneteenth. And man, you just made sure that you reached out to just about anybody that came into that location, and that's what true networking is. You know what I mean? So, but that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Keep.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we made the connection. I'm glad we were able to meet there, and here we are a couple years later doing the podcast, and
Right.
building up some programs. And I
Yeah, exactly.
met your
Yeah,
kid,
right.
and at the high school the other day. So yeah, she's awesome. So yeah, man, just looking forward to
Yeah,
continuing to
likewise,
build with
man.
you out there.
But yeah. I'm gonna let you go on about everything else, but you have a good one, and everybody, I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Legacy United. All right, peace.